handy, easy to read. I travel a lot, like many of you, and I came here to Brussels with Brussels Airlines. I was sitting in 2A, seat 2A, 2 hours and a half. I was coming from Lisbon. It was a torture. I'm very big, I'm very tall. And I had a lot of newspapers to read during the trip. And I was bothering the guy next to me. I was bothering the lady in front of me. Just Financial Times, the International Herald Tribune. I mean, they are huge animals. I mean, it's really difficult to read a newspaper. Not this one. It's short, but at the same time could be long. It's funny. Is there any here in the room from Sweden? Sweden. Do you know a magazine that is exactly like 3030 that is called, it's a sports magazine called Offline. I think it's Offline. No?
I've been away from Sweden too long.
Okay. The guy next to me in this trip to Brussels was reading this magazine, 2 hours and a half. He read everything. He didn't do anything. He didn't eat. He didn't drink. He was completely absorbed with this. I want to have it. I went to the newsstand, but of course there are no. It must be. It was the second number, right? So it must be monthly, and it was only about soccer, but it was long pieces, like very heavy. And the right was reading like a novel, and I said, "Oh my goodness, this is 3030." And I couldn't get a copy. I need to get a copy of this magazine. And there will be more like that. It was so handy. I was struggling with the newspapers, and he was so comfortable reading this little, exactly this size, exactly this formula. Are you not going to read something like that? It's an advertiser's dream. And it's so handy, so unique, so different. It's the future. That means I believe very strongly in newspapers, but in very, very different newspapers. And I think that this is the future. To be different. And the secret is very simple, and with this I'm very more than happy to take any question if you have it. The secret is nothing else than editing, editing, editing. If you ask a very good journalist, an old journalist, say, what is the secret in this industry? What makes the difference? Is the quality of editing. Of course, writing is very important, reporting is very important, but if you don't edit, and this kind of very compelling, compact product needs more than anything else, more than any innovative idea, a very old idea in this industry that has been for many years the secret of good journalism is editing, editing, editing. Thank you very much. And then I can...
Thanks. Excellent. I'd like to ask you something. I'm David Nordfors, running the Innovation Journalism Research Center at Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
I must admit that I canceled my last newspaper subscription in 1997. Went online, so I guess I'm not so much into paper, but still I agree very much with what you're saying, because what I noticed when I was a journalist many years ago, at the beginning of the 90s, and the internet came, the management of the news company I was at, they were not very interested in format. They only wanted to talk about the content and who, you know, can we start a new magazine about dogs or computers or something like that. And I have the experience, here comes the question, I have the experience when I meet top people today in news publishing, they almost forgot to talk about the journalism. They only want to talk about, shall we do this on, have a page on Facebook, or should we run a Twitter feed, or how can we do social media and stuff. And it seems to me that when I want to talk about what journalism is about, providing relevant content, they almost think, well, that's something for our newsrooms. We're here to discuss format. Do you share that experience, or was it only that I met the wrong guys?
Yeah, I agree that, of course, every market is different, every company is different, and I will not say that everybody is doing or has done the same things, but in the general trend is this, is of course that many people are giving up the daily habit of reading a newspaper for many reasons. I used to ask another question to our clients when we start to work with them, journalists, I mean, newsrooms. I say, tell me exactly what you did the first 15 minutes before you wake up this morning. Today, I would say 90% they say I went to online and to check my mail, to check the news, etc. Before to have a coffee, before to take a shower, before to... In the past, myself, many of you wake up, took a shower, went to the kitchen, have a coffee, open the door if you were subscribed for a newspaper, and you got the paper, and you sit 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then you went to work. Right now, the people, the first connection is Jaime Sirosky, that is a former president of the World Association of Newspapers, a very close friend. He's a Brazilian newspaper publisher. He told me a few weeks ago a very interesting phenomenon. He has a lot of grandchildren, and one of them is a 6-year-old girl that is completely wild, and he's completely crazy with. And then they spend 1 week on holidays in Brazil, in an island, I don't know where. But they went a place that there were no telephones, there was no connection to online, there were nothing. And the poor guys, including the little girl, they couldn't communicate with anybody. They return home, and the little girl is in the car with Jaime. Jaime arrives to the garage, the girl jumps from the car, and she goes completely ballistic to the computer, saying, "I'm connected again." At 6 years old, I'm connected again. I have been disconnected of the world. Then, this is a reality. I mean, you cannot ignore this fact that the habits of getting information, talking with other people, communicating, has changed dramatically. The question is that the role of newspapers, as we saw with the Globo TV commercial, the role of newspaper still is alive. It's dying when you ignore the other facts of the reality of the daily life. But still a product like 3030, that this thing that this guy was reading in the airport with me, and many print products that we read every day or every week. One of the most successful magazines, they call it a newspaper, is The Economist. It's amazing. And why is it so successful? Because it's very good, it's very well edited, editing, is very sophisticated, is provocative, it's not bland, it's very British. Sometimes you get very upset with them. But it's good, it's controversial, it's not predictable. The Economist always is, and is compact, is easy to read, is smart, is sharp, and does good analysis. They tell you about why and what's next, not about what happened. This is the past. They are thinking on the future. Then these are the qualities and the things that they will help print products to survive. And of course, if they don't do it,